An early season outbreak of epizootic hemorrhagic disease in deer, which started in the northern region of Indiana this year, has been detected by the Indiana Department of Natural Resources. We are now joined by Dr. Joe Caudell, a state deer project leader from the Indiana DNR Division of Fish and Wildlife. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad to be here.
Well, let's start off talking about EHD and what it is exactly.
Yeah, so EHD or epizootic hemorrhagic disease is a virus that deer can get, and it's transmitted between deer by a biting midge. And during drought conditions, these deer come together around water sources where the midges are located at, and it causes these outbreaks that we're seeing now in our certain parts of our deer population.
Okay, so I guess from what I understand, because we have drought conditions, the water levels are low. So where these deer go to
hmm
drink, it's where these midges breed, and so they get bit more often. So this has been a more severe season than normal, correct?
That's correct. We have EHD. We can have EHD in the state anywhere, any year, but this year, especially in northern Indiana, it's been particularly bad.
Okay, so can this affect humans? What if humans consume a deer that has EHD?
No, it's not considered a human disease. We've had the disease around for decades in the southeastern United States, and in more recent years, 20, 30 years in the Midwest, and we've never had any issues with it being a human disease.
Okay, so I've also read that if the deer population decreases too much, that a new population will actually move in and take over. Are we starting to see this happen, or are we not quite there yet?
No, in a lot of areas where we have EHD, we might see it reduce the population by 20 or 30%. And a deer population can easily withstand a 35, sometimes 40% reduction and actually come back the following year just from the remaining deer, being born.
Hmm.
And so if we see in our population studies that we do in the wintertime that the deer have gone down below this threshold, then we'll actually back off on hunting season a little bit to allow the deer population to recover. But they're pretty resilient.
Okay, if you start to see a deer acting strange, could that possibly be this disease? What should people look out for within the deer?
Yeah, so the outbreak will end when we have our first hard frost. Okay, and so between now and then, people may see deer acting oddly. Sometimes they spin in circles. Sometimes they lose their fear of humans. Maybe they're down on the ground, thrashing around. Um, in those cases, those are all signs of EHD, and they can actually report it online. We have a website set up that takes reports. That's on.in.gov/sick wildlife.
Hmm.
And they can actually report any sick wildlife they see there, not just deer with EHD. But when they make that report, a biologist will actually see that report and kind of know what's going on in different parts of the state.
Wow, that is fascinating. Do you have a website that people can go to read up more information if they're curious about this?
Absolutely. on.in.gov/EHD. It's got our most up-to-date information. We've got maps where the number of reports are coming in from the other website, and people can learn a lot more about the disease there.
Okay, Dr. Joe Caudell from Indiana DNR, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.